When speaking of arcade games, there are almost too many genres to list nowadays. From fighters, to first-person action-adventure, to racing games, and many more. There happens to be a very particular genre of arcade games that I'm a total and complete disciple of. That would be the vertical shooter, aka the manic shooter, aka shoot-em-ups. This specific genre is characterized most notably by a single ship, controlled by the player, going up against swarms and gigantic arrays of enemy bullets, usually displayed in ever-increasing patterns and dispersion rates. If you look at the history of this type of game, you could say it originated with Galaga. That might be going back a little far though, as compared to more recent shooters, Galaga is child's play. If you wanted a certain game that most players would consider the first manic shooter, most would say it's Batrider, which was released by Toaplan into arcades in 1993 and mostly can only be played anymore via MAME. While these types of games never really caught on here in America, there is still a thriving market overseas, with brand new shooters being developed and released into arcades in Japan. One of the most well-known of these companies is Cave, who has made some of the best vertical shooters ever. They are responsible for creating the Donpachi franchise, and more recently Mushi Mushi Pork and Death Smiles. But the game I'll be reviewing in this episode was created by a different company. Raizing released Armed Police Batrider into Japanese arcades in 1998. Raizing was formed by former employees of Toaplan after they shut down, and you'll notice that employees tend to jump ship to other shooter developers as well. This creates a perpetual source for companies to draw from, and the creative people are some of the best in the arcade shooter genre. Most notably K by today's standards, I think anyone would agree with me. On to the game. The player roster for this game is humongous as far as shooters go, as you usually only have 1 to 3 players to choose from. Armed Police Batrider has 18 total jets or Batriders at your disposal. 9 come standard plus another 9 hailing from previous Raizing shooters, Mahou Dai Sekusen and Battle Garega. The storyline is simplistic but interesting. Now, I didn't even know this game has a story until I was writing this review, so it's new to me as well. In the year 2004, crime in Manhattan was out of control, so a company called Gigantic has an idea to create an artificial island called Zenovia, where everyone could go to escape the rising crime. By 2019, crime had again skyrocketed on Zenovia, and so a special enforcement group was designed to go in and destroy Gigantic. Known as Zero Cops, it's formed by 3 convicts, 3 cops, and 3 psychics. Using special air bikes called Batriders, the game begins. There are 3 types of gameplay available from the start: Team Select, Team Edit, and Random Edit. I usually use Random Edit because it's faster when continuing, and I feel the fact that the game chooses characters for you makes it interesting. There are 4 play modes to the game: Training, Normal, Advanced, and Special. Advanced is my pick because it has the most stages, with previous courses having a descending amount. You progress through several stages, destroying everything. One of the main things I like about Armed Police Batrider is the firepower. Very few games have such a wide variety of different types of ship fire. Okay, so the majority of the bomb weapons suck, like the Mumbling Skull, or the Doofy Genie. But others are awesome, like the Quad Saw Blades, or the array of firing cannons. The backgrounds are terrifically done, with all sorts of little details that make vertical shooters interesting to look at as well as play. The attention paid to the details of the firepower is also surprising. Even the option shots are more than just energy balls or bullets. On the audio side, the music fits the game well. I think it's hilarious that the boss music is titled "Let's Kick Ass Together." I think it was a good idea to have the change in music be visualized on screen, as it's easier to pick out which tracks you like instead of trying to find the soundtrack notes somewhere on the internet, if one even exists. One of the things that always bugged me though, well, there's a few things, but the main thing is that although the ship roster appears large, it's mostly made up of variations on a single fighter. It might be colored differently, but the bomb weapons are the same, just recolored, and so are the normal shots. Another thing is that since the enemy fighter is colored so many different colors, it's sometimes hard to notice bullets or lasers or whatever is coming at you, because they tend to fade into the background or get lost in the shuffle. That's why I'm glad Cave, in the last several releases, use a single bullet color, usually magenta or some variation of it. The bosses aren't terribly difficult, most have simpler firing patterns, and can be easily avoided. The final boss is the Screwball though, because he comes in 3 different forms, which you have to destroy in sequence. I forgot to add too that if you cease firing, an energy shield will begin to form in front of your ship, absorbing smaller enemy fire. It disappears once you resume firing though. Overall, I think of this game as a compendium of sorts, because you pretty much get 3 games in one thanks to the large roster of ships. It doesn't quite have the visual impact that cave shooters do, and the explosions for me are a little too weak in the sound department. It's just a different design style, I guess. It's a fantastic shooter and I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching, go check it out.